Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show hosted by a basement dweller who grew up scrounging terrible fan subs on sketchy websites prior to the convenience of modern streaming, alongside a willfully ignorant soul whose only knowledge of anime comes from the shows forced upon him here. This show will contain spoilers, incorrect information, and copious amounts of adult language. Our hosts are not experts on any topic, and everything they say should be taken with a grain of salt. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I just can't resist that big titty goth GF, our editor Dylan.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Oh, Remington. It's funny you should mention Dylan.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because...
Here he is today! Da-da-da-da!
Wait, what the fuck? How did I get here?
No. It's funny you should mention him because I was reminded of Dylan several times while researching today's anime.
Is it because he lives with you and he can just walk in your room?
Yes, actually. Funnily enough, like while I was doing my research, he kept me like, "Hey, Shaun, how you doing? You doing all right? Need a drink? Need something?" Yeah, no, that's...
He's so considerate.
He really is, actually. Granted, 90% of the times, those drinks are alcoholic in nature, which makes note-taking a little bit on the tricky side. But, you know, it's fine. Makes things a bit more...
He's just getting you drunk, baby.
Yeah, he is. He makes such tasty drinks, too. Ah, bless, love him. But no, that's not the reason, Rim. The main reason was because I realized it's been a while since we've done something... been a while since we've done two specific things. One, a proper edgy anime.
Okay, perfect.
And two, hate to say it, Rem,
Oh, no.
but it's been a long-ass time since we've done an isekai.
Fuck! Oh, God damn it,
Yeah,
dude.
the last one was a Sword Art Online revisit back in April. It's been a while, Rem.
I'm still recovering.
You still haven't fully recovered from alicization.
Oh, dude, it's so fucking bad.
Oh, I'm aware, Rem. I'm aware. I know that it's bad. But I'm not going to show you Sword Art Online today, because that would be just cruel and unusual.
Yeah.
Instead, I've got something quite a bit different, I would say. It's still an isekai, of course, though, but it's a pretty edgy isekai. About as edgy as it gets,
Ooh.
really.
Ooh.
And it is probably one of our most requested isekais we've gotten.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I figured now would be a good time because I finally got around to researching it myself. Because the 4th season just started airing, and people are like, "Hey, you gonna..." It's been 4 years, you know. We got a 4th season. It's topical. You know, this is good business sense. You should do an episode on it. I'm like, technically, yeah, that does make sense, but you know, there's a lot to go through. So of course, I didn't watch 4 seasons of an anime to prepare for this. I only watched the 1 season.
Yeah.
Because I figured that's good enough for this. And this anime is very highly requested and has a very big fan base. Very much so, considering it has 4 seasons.
Yeah.
When its original season aired in 2015.
I'm gonna say 4 seasons. I think that's too much for any edgy show worth its merit. Because a properly edgy show is gonna kill off the protagonist at some point or another. It's not gonna last 4 seasons.
Man, you're only...
4 seasons, if you're edgy, then you're just edgy for the aesthetic. You're not edgy to the core, alright?
Ooh, man, it's like you've hit the nail on some heads, Rem. Because I will say that I just pulled up our emails out of curiosity and typed in the name of the anime, and I'm doing some scrolling. I'm doing a little bit of scrolling, especially in this past year. And
Ooh, okay.
a lot of people have said, "Hey, since you hated Sword Art Online, maybe this is a good alternative." That is what a lot of people have said to me, which I thought to myself, I mean, they are technically both isekais, and that's where that thought ended.
Okay.
So maybe that will be the thought you have coming out of this one. But let me break it down to you, Rem. This is an anime simply titled Overlord.
Okay, I've definitely heard the name, and it's one of those that's been recommended so much that it's definitely... even though I try to avoid the recommendations, it's permeated,
yes.
you know?
Well, it's hard to get by without getting this recommendation, and we've had some patrons name themselves after Overlord for at least a year, I think.
Yeah.
Because I like it's one of those earworms that has never truly left my head. I just never got around to it. And this anime is a isekai that is unique in one specific way.
Okay.
The main character, right, I said I was about to say unique things. I just realized there's like 6 other isekais that have a character like this now.
I mean, for isekai, nothing is truly unique, but
Yeah,
sort of the
okay.
selling point.
So the main selling point of this is the main character is not like your typical dark-haired, like, misfit outcast protagonist that is thrown into a situation and given god powers. No. This time, our protagonist is a skeleton.
Okay, just a skeleton?
I mean, they call him a lich, right? But he is just like a skeleton. Like, just a skeleton.
Okay.
He all bone dough. And the whole premise of this show, in a nutshell, Rem, is the main character is an evil overlord, but with the mind of a standard Japanese gamer person. Which is like, okay, interesting. And the whole series is about this fella being this evil overlord character whilst thinking, man, I wish I didn't have to do all these evil things, but I'm being forced to in a sense because of the way the game and character is set up. Because, Rem, the whole premise of this show is a very popular MMORPG is being shut down permanently because apparently it wasn't doing well or for a number of reasons. And our main character, who God, he has so many names. I'm just gonna call him Ainz, I think, is the easiest one to remember. Cause like Momonga is his other name. Yeah, okay, so yeah, let's see. His person name is Momonga, but his character name is Ainz Ulgaun.
Oh fuck no.
So I'm just gonna call him Ainz because it's easier to remember. And Ainz is a very powerful Lich Lord in the context of this game. Like, he and his clan have RP'd being the evil bad guys in this game for as long as I can remember. So he decided to spend the final hours of this game being shut down alone by himself in this virtual reality, just reminiscing about the good times they had there and just being there for when the game finally closes down. But of course, as is the nature of these shows, when the game does close down, it turns out not only is he still in the game, but he's actually been properly transported to a fantasy version of the game, where he is, in fact, inhabiting the skeletal body of Ainz Ulgaun.
Okay.
Yes. And the whole story revolves around him adjusting to the situation and the mental barriers of being a dark evil overlord, trying to do some good while at the same time complying with the evil persona that he is forced to connect with and imitate.
Okay.
Yep, and it's a story of him going around doing some politics, killing some bad guys, being blatantly overpowered, and being surrounded by a bunch of player-created NPCs that are all very... I'll say this, a lot of the NPC designs are fairly, like, different from one another. It's not just a bunch of the same, like, height, same average, like, girl you've ever seen.
That's good.
Everywhere.
That's nice.
Like,
That's
there are some
nice.
guys. There are some guy NPCs.
Oh my god.
And some monsters. It's like, hey...
I feel like the concept is, like, interesting enough.
Yes.
But it's like, is it... I'm like, oh yeah, cool. If in a vacuum I heard this, I'd be like, yo, that sounds sort of dope. But it's not in a vacuum.
No.
It's under the oppressive lens of being an isekai. And hooey.
That is
Oh,
a tricky lens to get out from under because, unfortunately, Rem, I've been protecting you, Rem. I've been covering you from so many trashy isekai that have been constantly coming out every season. And like, you don't understand the sheer quantity that come out every season, Rem. I've been doing a very good job of limiting your isekai exposure.
I support that forever.
No, I figured you would. But sometimes you gotta let one or two things come through, and a lot of people say that this is one of the best done isekais from this time period. And, like, yeah, the main character's overpowered, but he has, like, this dark side to him that kind of makes things interesting. There's some politicking going around, which is always fun. And apparently there's a decent amount of comedy. And it's done by one of your favorite studios, Madhouse. Remember Madhouse, Rem?
It is not to be confused
With Shaft.
with Shaft.
And just as a refresher, Madhouse are the people who animated Death Note, Hunter x Hunter, Perfect Blue, A Place Further Than the Universe, Hellsing Ultimate, One Punch Man, the first season. You know, a bunch of shows we've covered.
They got some real heavy hitters and also some notable misses.
Oh, yes. But that'll happen when you're one of the biggest anime studios and you have so many IPs attached to your name.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can take that as hopefully a sign of hope. And
well, we'll see.
Quite frankly, Rem, this might be a long second-parter just because of how the sheer quantity of people that want us to cover this show, Rem. It's a lot. It's a lot. And
yup.
I don't want to disappoint them. So
all right, how many?
Rem.
How many?
Rem, buddy. You know I love you like a brother, right?
Oh, you're fucking me. You're fucking me.
No, I'm not doing that. It's not that kind of podcast.
You're fucking me like Mrs. Turner. What's it gonna be, Shaun? That's a Patreon joke. The patrons are laughing their asses off right now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they are. You know, Rem, I think there's one thing that you will genuinely enjoy no matter what. So and the episodes you're gonna watch. So I think 8 episodes is plenty.
Okay, all right, here we go.
So without further ado, let's jump straight in to Overlord.
Oh man, you have to watch Overlord because he's like, hey, can I touch your boobs? And she's like, yes, please. And we have a scene where he touches her boobs and almost makes her orgasm. I was feeling complex emotions. That was fantastic. I was lightning in a bottle. If there's one thing the anime out of context lads struggle to resist, it's the goth GFs.
Yep.
I say, can I get an amen?
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back after watching 8 whole episodes of the first season of the hit 2015 anime Overlord. And Remington, I feel like I should apologize.
Oh, you're already making assumptions that I didn't like it. What could lead you to make such assumptions, Shaun?
Well, generally speaking, Rem, you like stories where things happen. And when I was redoing the research on this one, I may or may not have had a slight realization that things do happen. It just takes a while. And I feel like that might not be conducive to a particular enjoyment of one Remington chase. And I may be making a wild leap. I could be completely out of my depth. I could be completely wrong for once, and turns out maybe this is one of your favorite isekais we've covered. Maybe you like the big scary skeleton man crushing hearts and feeling boobs.
I miss the slime, Shaun. I miss the slime. For those unaware, Slime Reincarnate had a very similar premise, but
similar
was much better and much more cohesive.
Yeah, similar in the fact that it was, dude is a different creature other than human in another world, and there's some politics and kingdom building.
Well, and like the OP nature of it all.
Oh yeah. But like, hate to break it to you, Rem, but generally speaking, well, if it's an isekai and the protagonist is not horribly OP in one way or another, it's probably an okay isekai.
And we'll get into it, but like, my problem isn't necessarily that he's overpowered.
Oh no, I never thought it would be.
That's like the least on the list. Because while that can sometimes be an issue, such as they've just started and now they're the single greatest being of all time, that's irritating. Or if it's like, oh, they're the most powerful, can they overcome it? Ooh, who can? Of course they can. Yes, it's like shit like that is very annoying. But you can have OP protagonists who are interesting and fun, right? The two examples like Slime Reincarnate that we just mentioned, many would cite One Punch Man as like the iconic example of this. So it's like it can be done, but usually it's not done well. Let's get into the story, because my thoughts on this show are surprisingly complex for a show that may not deserve it.
Well, I made you watch 8 episodes of the thing, and I'll explain why I made you watch 8 specifically after we're done here, because there are going to be people who are like, why didn't you just show them the 9th episode? I'm like, well, there's a reason.
It does, yeah, it is. I also found it an interesting stopping point.
Yes.
So we open up with a nice exposition dump, right? Which is more acceptable in episode 1, but once we get into episode, 6 and it's doing the same shit, then it starts to get old, but we'll get there. Because this show, Overlord, I'm gonna say it has solid world building, right? Or at least it has a solid, in the sense that it's built an interesting world, not in the sense that the exposition is any good. The exposition is hot fucking garbage. But the world itself, you can tell a lot of thought has been put into this. The world building, I would say, above average. Ooh, you're starting out with a compliment.
Will it stay complimentary?
Well,
okay,
I'm gonna say, for the first 10 minutes of Overlord, I was interested. For the first 10 minutes, I became optimistic. We get a scene that we see that Yggdrasil, this MMO, is shutting down, and we get a scene where some heroes fight some skeletons that are getting reborn, right? And the skeletons are CGI, but
yes.
I will say it was some of the better CGI, because they heavily stylized it so that it could sort of work. It still wasn't great, but I was like, okay, at least it's heavily stylized so that it works better than it otherwise would. Unfortunately, within this first 5 minutes, it might be the best CGI of the entire show.
Yeah.
Because the rest, I thought, oh, okay, so I'd rather it not be CGI, but at least if they're going to do it, they seem to know what they're doing. Oh, no. I don't know if they just got lucky in this scene or what, but the rest of it is really bad. This show has really bad CGI.
What, you're trying to tell me that the Death Knight that got summoned wasn't peak animation?
And the problem is, the Death Knight is stylized the same way as the skeletons, but the skeletons were in, a purple smoky graveyard at night. The Death Knight, he was in the middle of the fucking day.
In a forest.
In a field.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just that stylization doesn't quite work the same in different environments,
Yeah.
So the heroes, they beat down the skellies, but then there's some big spooky bad guys that completely obliterate the heroes. And it turns out that one of these big spooky bad guys is our protagonist. Good old Momonga. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah,
doesn't
Momonga,
really matter.
Yeah, that you can see why I just jumped to Ainz pretty quick, because
Well, here's the fucking thing.
yeah.
Who the fuck knows? Because he's going to sort of randomly change his name later, and then, with very poor reasoning, change it again.
Yeah. The multiple name changes in one series makes it a little tricky to...
Not even just in the same series. In 8 episodes, he's changed it twice. Because he's changed it and then sort of changed it back with the twist. We'll get to all that. But yeah, Momonga. Which we can call Ainz. It is simpler. Or Mommy, whatever you prefer.
Mommy Lich. Oh, man.
Hey, we all want a Mommy Lich in our lives, don't we?
Sure, Rem. Sure we do.
We have Ainz, and it's the last day before Yggdrasil, the server, shut down, right? And now we get to what is the single best scene in the entire show thus far. In the first 5 minutes, you have the best scene, bar none. It's so easy that this is the best scene. And it's Ainz with one of his online friends, right? And they're just having a little chat together. And then the friend has to log out, leaving Ainz alone, probably saying goodbye for the last time to this online friend. They only had the connection in the MMO, and that connection's going to be severed. And so Ainz looks around the guild tower, looks at all of the things that they've built up. He feels abandoned, but he recognizes that there's no betrayal here. It's all of the people who helped build this, they didn't abandon him. They just all had lives. And so one by one, their lives took over, and he can't blame them for that. But look at all this stuff that meant so much, that still means so much, that is coming to an end. And he sits down, he looks at the NPCs, looks at some rare items, looks at their land, and there's just an overwhelming feeling of nostalgic melancholy. And it's unironically a great moment. It's a lovely scene full of emotional nuance. So we are never gonna have those feelings again in the entire rest of the show. We are not even going to like pretend to try to achieve those emotions. They do not matter. Which, oh man, that's wildly disappointing. Cause that was great. That was fantastic. And then it just says, fuck it. Shit, man. I was feeling complex emotions. And then it's gone forever. What the fuck?
Well, at least you got the one. The one is nice, Ram.
So I was optimistic at this point. I was like, God damn. And then he falls asleep during the time that the server shut down. He wakes up and he's trapped in the world. Don't ask questions about like, he's not feeding himself, right? Or he's not drinking water. He's trapped in, like, there's a real life him out there, theoretically. Unless I guess maybe he just died and this is all his heaven. Who the fuck knows? I don't know what route it's gonna go, or if it'll just ignore it.
Well, I will say that the important distinction here is that he's not trapped in a game so much as he is in the, like, real fantasy world version of the game. That's just the important distinction.
All right, but how?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, look, it's just a thing. It's a thing.
Well, and it's not even the real version of the game.
No.
It's all of the same abilities, and he has his tower, and he has all of his NPCs and items, but it's a completely separate world that has everything the same except currency, I guess? That's the only... Land and currency are the only things that are different, I suppose. Why? I don't even know the narrative reason why. I don't even know what this does from a storytelling perspective. Normally I can at least be like, oh, because of plot. Not even really because of plot. You could have had the same, or at least a very similar, if not more interesting plot, if it was just still completely the game world. I don't know why they made these choices.
To add an air of mystery? Question mark?
But what's the air of mystery, though? Because either way, even all the characters who know what's going on, right? The reason you would do this is to have the main character be a stranger to a strange land, so you have different characters be like, hey, here's blatant exposition, right? That's why you do that. The characters, even when they're talking just to each other, who all know what's going on, all do the same shit anyway. They're all like, you are a former member of this group that Skull is this thing, as we all know. Now, we're both a part of this guild and this faction. And of course we have this item that does this thing, as we all know. It does the shitty exposition anyway, so you didn't need a new land to do that if you're doing it in the first place. It's real frustrating. Continuing on. He wakes up, new world. One of the last things he did in the game was change one of the NPC's descriptions, I guess, to be in love with him. And so, unsurprisingly, now that he's in the world, that NPC is completely obsessed with him. And he's like, hey, can I touch your boobs? And she's like, yes, please. And we have a scene where he touches her boobs and almost makes her orgasm. Here we are, folks! Remember those complex feelings and emotions we were talking about earlier? Now we're into the isekai boob grabbing portion, so...
Oh, it doesn't
here
happen.
we fucking are.
Well, at least that specific thing doesn't happen again.
We fell off a fucking cliff in quality, my dude. Oh my god. Here's the problem with Overlord from this point forward.
Yeah.
it's as if you took like 3 or 4 really good shows and then 6 terrible shows and you blended all of it together. And it's like, oh no, couldn't we just have had the good ones? Or at least let the good ones be the majority? No. Oh no. But it has the good elements. It has good moments. Like, it has the world building. It's capable of complex emotions, even though we have gotten nowhere even close to that since. And there's some other compliments I'll throw out here and there. But man, what a frustrating and disappointing show. We meet the NPCs, and he does some tests and whatnot. The important NPCs. There's Sebastian, just Sebastian. He's butler, sort of.
Yeah.
Ara and Mare, they are twins. One is magic, one is sort of a scout or something. I don't know what the other one's deal is.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Albedo. Albedo is the one who's obsessed with Ainz. We have I want to say Cocytus, but they pronounced it Cocytus. So I guess Cocytus?
Are you uncomfortable at the prospect of a little Cocytus in your
I really feel like it should be Cocytus, but I will accept Cocytus.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the exact pronunciation of it. Like, I could like try and search out the dub and see what they say in it. But,
yeah,
like,
he's just a buggy Machamp knight. We have Shaltair or Shaltier, I don't know.
Shaltier, yeah.
All right, Shaltier, who is a horny gothic lolly bullshit who stuffs her bra. She's there so that she can have conversations with all the other women. She's also obsessed with Ainz.
Oh, she's also a vampire, Rem. Don't forget.
Oh, she's also a vampire. My bad.
Yeah, that's very important. Very important.
She gets in arguments about boobs a lot because, you know, as I've mentioned many times, that is in fact just how all women speak. At least 50% of all of a woman's conversations have to be about boobs. That's just realistic writing right there. And finally, we have Demiurge. He's a fancy demon boy who, look, I don't. This is a very low bar that maybe the show won't even meet this. But also, Demiurge is like obviously going to be a surprise betrayal later, right? Like, like he's obviously up to some shit, and that might even be expecting too much. But I don't think it is because it's not expecting much, and I don't think it's gonna be as surprising as they think it is. Yeah, Demiurge, sus as fuck.
What, you're telling me the demon guy with the smooth talking voice who like is just very like suave and charismatic could potentially
all right,
be
let's
a bad guy?
let's not say he's suave and charismatic. The show wants him to be.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
He has done nothing to give any indication of any character work besides being sus as fuck. Like, the show has just presented him as completely loyal, but we all know what's up. He's sus as fuck. Episode 2, we get into an argument about boobs that is meaningless. Man, half of this episode is completely meaningless. I don't even feel the need to talk about episode 2.
That's fine. Look, hey, Rem, guess what? I made you watch 8 episodes not because of, like, hey, this is how you get the real full experience. I made you watch 8 episodes so we'd have things to talk about.
Yeah, alright, so episode 2, technically we get introduced to the NPCs some more, I guess.
Yeah.
Not really, none of it matters. Episode 3! We see that an army is arriving on horseback, not to our tower, but to a village, and they destroy the village. Then we get different knights, good knights, being ordered to investigate what's going on there. We get this really pretentious monologue all about the head warrior, as we'll later learn. He talks about being of common birth and how now he's going to be the hero he always needed. I don't know, it's pretentious, unnecessary, I don't give a shit what's going on. Ainz scries on what's going on and decides, okay, I'm going to help out, because I was helped out once, I guess, even though also I don't care. Here's the thing about Ainz.
Yeah.
He's such a shitty character. An overwhelmingly shitty character. Because the show has no idea whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. It does not know. Because there are times where he's like, yes, I sincerely want to help because it's the right thing to do, right? But then he has other times where he's like, fuck him, I don't care, I'm a baddie with no empathy. And I'm not going to be an outright asshole, that'd be too interesting. I'm just going to be apathetic, I guess. What? What kind of character is this?
Well, the idea behind
Please
the manga,
do tell me what they're going for, because
So-
whatever it is, they have missed the fucking mark.
what they're going for, Rem, is he's supposed to be a pretty normal average dude on the inside, like good leaning, morals and such. But the problem is, Rem, he's currently like in an evil, nasty lich body. And that evil,
Which
nasty lich...
they really want to emphasize, like, half a dozen or more times in these first couple episodes. He's like, oh, that's weird. I no longer have empathy. How strange. I, for some reason, have some features that I used to have and some personality traits, but not others because reasons. So am I bad or am I good, or does it matter? And it keeps trying to contrast to how he used to be, but we've never seen how he used to be. We never got introduced to that, so he just has to keep being like, yes, this is different than I used to be. I care less now, I guess, but then sometimes I do actually care, even though I said I didn't, but then I won't again. And also, it's not that he's a lich so he's turning evil, right? Which, if he was more of an outright asshole, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But instead, he's either bland bitch protagonist, sure I'll help because I'm a good person, or he's like, no, I won't help because I don't care for them. I don't hate them or dislike them. I won't harm them, but I don't care. Oh, you chose the most boring and inconsistent way of dealing with this character, so it's just wildly frustrating and bland. I hate this. I hate this. Like, you know what would be interesting? Here's two separate show concepts. I'll just tell you all the routes this could be good, all right?
Okay.
This show,
Sure.
It could be better if it just leaned into, failing upwards, basically. He's OP, and everyone's impressed that he's OP because he's just a beginner from their perspective, and he's like, oh, okay. A little bit One Punch Man, basically. Just steal One Punch Man, become a worse One Punch Man. That would be better than this. Or the other two options, I find both to be more interesting. You could also have it be, let's get some inspiration, a little bit from Death Note, but in a MMORPG environment. So our protagonist, Ainz, he is the villain, right? He is your standard RPG villain. He is going to have world domination. He is OP as fuck. And for a little while, we just see that OP as fuck nature. He is dominant. But some factions are able to sort of outsmart or cleverly have strategies against Ainz. But it's all for naught because Ainz still ends up beating them. But there's a scrappy young adventurer on the horizon, perhaps a chosen one, who sort of fills that L role of Death Note, who they have Ainz' number. And if there's anybody who can take down Ainz, it's this motherfucker. For X, Y, and Z reason, Ainz can't directly take him down, so he has to manipulate and politic around before it's too late. Because if this scrappy adventurer gets too strong, if they realize their full potential, that's the only way Ainz can be stopped, right? That could be dope as fuck! That would be dope as fuck. You could have it be really edgy, which the show sometimes wants to be, but also not really. Like, the show pretends it's edgy, but it's not even that. But that would be a great concept, I think. That would be a phenomenal one that's not too separate from the concept of this show, right? Or a third and final concept is it's inspired by Invincible, a lovely superhero show where Ainz, in this case, he would be overpowered as fuck and he would be evil, but he would have to pretend that he's good for whatever reason. So he pretends he's good just so that he can capitalize on the moment, get situated, and obliterate fucking everything, right? All of these things have elements of Overlord, but all of these are better than what Overlord is. Where
Rev.
Overlord stands, it's not dark and gritty, but sometimes it wants to be. It's not funny or heartwarming or wholesome, but sometimes it wants to be. It's not action-packed or adventurous, though sometimes I guess it wants to be. What the fuck is it then? What are we left with, I ask? Anyway, back to the Knights attacking the village. Ainz shows up, he kills them all, nice and easy. That's episode 3. Episode 4, we see that there's a church warrior who gets a crystal, and Ainz chats with the head warrior and stuff. Turns out the Knights weren't from the group they said they were from. They were actually from a different faction, which could mean something, except we've just been introduced to these groups, so none of it matters. Nonetheless, this theocratic spot, they show up, then Ainz demolishes all of them. There we go, cool. That's episode 4.
Yep. Yep.
You guys might think I'm skipping over some stuff. I'm really not.
No.
Really. At one point, Ainz decided to change his name from Momonga to Ainz, which is the name of the guild. I could be wrong. I don't think it's explained why.
It is.
Is it? Did I miss it?
Probably. It's a very brief explanation. The reason he changes his name and wants to spread that name far and wide is on the off chance that somebody like him from his world is in the game and will see it and recognize it because his guild was pretty famous. Literally, it's
Well,
in
also,
the search
he was
of
like
other isekai people.
He was like one of, if not the most famous member of his guild, right?
Yep.
So theoretically, if any members of the guild were there, they would recognize his name too, right?
Well, he's not just looking for members of the guild, though. He's looking for literally any other isekai idiot out there.
But what I said still applies, I think.
I mean,
If you knew the guild name, you'd probably know his name, right?
I mean, not necessarily, Rem. You know Mexico,
I mean, he
but
was
you don't know
like-
the president of Mexico.
He was like the guy of that guild. Like, there were some others who were really important, but he was like the one.
I'm not saying it's the best decision, Rem. I'm just
All
saying
right.
it's the decision that they made. And I
That
can
seems,
kind of see the logic behind it, but that's...
seems real dumb, especially when very soon, for borderline no reason, he'll decide actually he wants to go undercover. Which,
I mean,
why are you going undercover if your whole goal was to use this name to be recognized by others, but then you go undercover hiding the name that only they would know? To be clear, nobody knows this name besides the people you're trying to reach out to, and you decide to go undercover, which only hides it from those people. I'm losing my fucking mind.
well, Rem, it's simple. The reason he goes undercover, right, is so that he can learn more about the differences between the game world and his world.
Why couldn't he do that as Ainz?
Well, because he's a big, evil, scary-looking lich, Rem.
He had a mask.
That
He
It
put
was a
on
pretty
the mask to hide it.
it was a pretty scary mask, let's be real.
He can also use the magic, or he can just turn into the knight form and still go by Ainz.
Look, Rem, I feel like you're missing the point. I feel like the
I am
complexities of the show are being lost on you currently.
You're right. All right. So episode 5, we open up with some Albedo and Shaltir, and they have an argument with one another about Ainz, because that's their whole characters. Cool. All right. Look at that nuance. All right. He gets registered for a guild, goes undercover, blah, blah, blah. There's some drama about a broken potion. He gives them a potion that turns out to be a true potion that is red, because in the manufacturing process, the potions turn blue. So the fact that it remains red means that it's better and stronger and rarer, I guess. Wildly unnecessary and uninteresting world building here. Ainz cannot read the job posting, so he grabs one. It's like, I'll do this one. They're like, oh, that's a mithril job, so you can't do that. And he's like, oh, okay, whoopsie, I guess. He's like, but I'm strong enough. And they're like, sorry, but the rules. He's like, I'll take the highest copper. And then an adventuring party is actually like, hey, actually, we need help for that. So forget the highest copper mission. We want help with a thing. And he's like, okay. And he's like, okay, I'll help you guys with your shit then. But then the pharmacist kid is like, oh, actually, I need your help. Actually, he's like, oh, okay, then never mind about that quest either then. I'll do this, and the adventuring party will join me. Also, as soon as the adventuring party showed up, I labeled them as some Sword Art Online shit. And by that, I meant, we all remember season 1 of Sword Art Online, right?
Yeah.
That's all engraved in our memories, as trauma. And
Yep.
we all remember the shitty scene where there's just, an adventuring party that they pretend is important and then immediately dies.
Oh yeah. The guild that Kirito joins.
Yeah.
For theoretically, he joined them for several months. Like that's apparently what happened.
Yeah, definitely not just 10 minutes. But it'd be a shame if, as soon as I saw this group, I identified them immediately as that same category, and then the same shit happens. That would be tragic.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So they go, they do the mission and stuff. None of this fucking matters at all. Then we get introduced to a cult that is in an underground crypt, and it has a crazy, wacky assassin lady, and it has a cult dude, and they want to kidnap the pharmacist because he can use any magical item. Okay, sure. They go on the adventurer, and I will say, like, the adventuring group, they do a strong job of being of depicting their personalities very quickly. And even they also just do a good job of, like, having these characters sort of hang out. Like, when it's not doing bullshit exposition, it's decent enough. They're all friendly and optimistic and carefree. It feels like a group of friends just hanging out, which is really good. They're still one-dimensional. Like, it's like, oh, really strong first impression. Oh, but that's all that we get. Because they may or may not be set up to die later, you know? So you got to make them feel more important than they are, but not too important because they are just going to fucking die. Another great moment, a really genuinely, another one of my favorite moments is some, like, goblins and ogres show up, and this adventuring party, they have a plan. They have tactics. They're like, oh yes, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is our role in this fight. Let's do this shit. And it feels like they've done this shit before, which is perfect. Really good stuff. The adventurers, while they're pretty one-dimensional and, if I'm being honest, not super interesting, they are also the best part of this show.
Ooh, that's unfortunate.
It's real unfortunate, especially because I knew exactly where this shit is going. Also, at one point, they're talking and they're like, yes, our adventuring party is all men. You can have problems when there's women in the party. And then it points to, like, the very feminine one with eyelashes. Like, they're the only one with eyelashes. And it's like, oh, I wonder if it's trying to... I wonder if we'll look back at this moment and be so surprised that the caster is a woman. It turns out it is a woman. It doesn't matter. They all die.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. Who could have predicted that?
Episode 7, they get back to the first town Ainz was at. Some meaningless chats. Nothing matters. Pharmacist figures out Ain's identity, so good fucking job going undercover. What's this for, motherfucker? What's this for? I'm losing my mind. Oh, also, this whole time Ainz has had a companion. They don't matter. So
they have a very relevant scene in episode 9, but
they go to the forest. I don't know why. I can't remember what the point of this all was.
To gather herbs for Pharmacist Boy.
Oh, okay. So he really needed to gather herbs then.
Yes.
Because also, at that point, it was presented as just a front because he wanted to meet Ainz, but he did actually just also need help. Okay, cool.
Yep.
2 birds with 1 stone, I suppose.
Yep.
So they go to the forest and they're like, beware the wise king. And they do something that could be really good if the thumbnail of the episode didn't spoil it.
Yeah.
Because they really talk up the wise king of the forest as this big spooky entity, which, as you've already learned in this, it means that Ainz will be able to kick its ass easily. Which could be fine. But the wise king of the forest, it's a giant, they call it a hamster, but it's definitely a gerbil. Because it has a long tail. Has a long little gerbil tail. That's a gerbil. not a hamster.
Do,
But
do gerbils have long tails?
yeah, you remember? I see. What I was taught is you think of the G as a long tail, and then you'll be set. Yeah, search up gerbil right now. A gerbil and a hamster, they're very, very similar, but you remember that gerbils have the tails.
Oh shit! These gerbils do in fact have tails.
Yeah. Meanwhile, hamsters, they just got little stumpies.
Oh, you know what I was thinking of, Rem? I'm embarrassed to say that I was thinking of.
I'm excited to hear this.
For some reason, I mixed up gerbil and guinea pig. So I was like, I don't think he looks much like a guinea pig at all. And he doesn't. He genuinely doesn't. No, that is a gerbil. That is an active gerbil.
Yeah, it's a giant gerbil that they call a hamster, but either way, it's super fucking cute. I like, and he'll be named Hamskay. I love him.
Yeah, and that's not really the show's fault that thumbnail got spoiled. That's Crunchyroll's fault.
Oh yeah,
because they don't do shit when it comes to like selecting thumbnails. I think they just literally choose like a random frame and be like, yeah, that's all right.
No, they don't choose a random frame. Otherwise, there wouldn't be horny women in the thumbnails so often.
Rem, you're highly underestimating how many scenes there are of horny women in anime. Like, they could genuinely throw like a dart at a list of the random frames and be like, yeah, that's that. High probability it's going to be a horny woman. Like,
man, I wish you were wrong. Anyway, they take the hamster as a pet, despite they really emphasized, they were like, hey, if you kill the Wise King, this village is fucked, right? The Wise King is the only thing stopping people from invading from the forest.
Right.
And then Ainz, once again, seemingly for little to no reason, is like, all right, hey, you guys want to stay back? I'm gonna fucking kill the Wise King. I don't know his motivation other than to show off his power, I guess. Like, vague, I want a challenge? Is that it?
Yeah. That's one of them.
So he's back to not caring about this village that he's cared about, but then not cared about, but then cared about, but not cared about. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
a little bit, yeah.
Just establishing that Ainz has no consistency in his character.
No. You see, it's not that he has no consistency, Rem. It's that he's an enigma of a character.
That's not how that works, man. No, he's mysterious. No, he's just a bad character. So then he takes the Wise King as a pet, also leaving the forest without the Wise King. But now everybody else is like, yeah, that's fine, I guess. But you fucked him over. There's no Wise King in the forest anymore. But instead of being like, oh god, that's like our guardian, they're just like, all right, bye. Come on. Come on, man. Anyway, they all get back. The adventuring party leads the pharmacist home. They go ahead of Ainz for poor reasons. That's an excuse to separate, really. And then the crazy cult woman is at the pharmacist's house. That also his grandma isn't there for some reason. But she's
not
there.
partying, Rem. She's not partying.
Oh, of course. And then, oh my god, the crazy woman kills the whole adventuring party. Who would have thought? Who would have guessed?
It's a twist we never saw coming. And to be fair, Rem, they lasted 4 episodes, whereas the one in SAO, I think, lasted 1.
I guess. It was still so blatant, though.
I know it was blatant, Rem. I'm just trying to give this anime a little credit. Just a little. A taste
Literally, they were on the screen for less than 60 seconds when I wrote my note. I saw them and I immediately pegged it for what it was.
Just because I thought the exact same thing when I first saw this show back in 2015 does not mean.
Anyway, so we'll pretend it's tragic. The grandma of the pharmacist, she finds Ainz and is like, oh, where's my son? He's like, oh, they went ahead. And so they go back to their house and it's like, oh no. And they see the massacre that's happened and the son is gone. They use magic to locate what's going on. They're using the pharmacist that can use any magical item to use a magical item that summons an army of undead. Cool. Ainz goes to the cemetery, fights off the army of undead. For some reason, I guess now the Wise King is useless, which I thought, like, the joke was just like that he was adorable, but I guess it's just that he's also shit.
No, Rem, don't be ridiculous. It's supposed to indicate that this undead skeletal army is a true threat.
Wouldn't it be more important to show that the hamster can hold its own? Because, like, we
I mean,
just met
if
it,
you
and it was
want a
presented
good
as
story,
threat, and
Rem, I
immediately you
guess. If that's what you want,
I-
then fine. Yeah, I guess the hamster should be able to hold its own.
like,
But we can't.
like, let me be clear. We never see the skeletons being a threat. Just some of the NPCs are like, man, what a threat they are.
And all the people that are killed off screen, of course, that happens as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I truly don't give a shit. Anyway, Ainz, he shows up. They fight with the cult. Ainz decides to go 1v1 the crazy cult lady. I don't really know why he decided to 1v1 crazy cult lady.
Would you believe it's because he's upset with her for killing all those adventurers?
But, like,
And
he
all those
also could have
people?
just done that there.
Yeah.
I don't know why he decided to be like, hey, let's go 100 yards in that direction and then fight.
It's also so that he could experiment more, funnily enough.
They were all alone with the cultists.
Oh, yeah, no,
It was them, cultists, and a bunch of fucking skeletons. Like, if you want to experiment, there's your fucking chance, bro.
Nah. See, it's much more dramatic if you do it one-on-one, Rem.
God, this show, it has some thoughtful, smart stuff. But at the end of the day, it cannot escape the gravitational pull of the same fucking isekai I've seen a million times. Like, it has some elements where it's like, oh, okay, it's just back to same old shit I've seen forever. Cool, awesome. Anyway, and that's where we end. Which seemed like a weird stopping point because it very much felt like we were an episode away from, like, ending this arc.
Yep, that is exactly correct. And I had two reasons for doing this, Rem.
Yeah, I'm very curious because it just feels.
Cause I'll be real with you, Rem. There's two. It's a twofold reason. First reason, because I figured it would be very funny to try and figure out if you could predict how the next episode is gonna go, like just like broad points.
Oh, okay.
And two, the other big reason is after watching 8 episodes and ending on such a cliffhanger, I really wanted to ask you, are you really curious what happens next at all?
Let me put it this way, Shaun.
Yeah.
Before the episode was over, as soon as he went off with the girl, in my notes, because I write notes both of my thoughts and also just what happens to keep track of everything, right?
Right.
And in the what happens, I just wrote Ainz kills woman, even though that hadn't happened yet, just because I took it for granted.
Okay.
He's going to have a fight. He's going to be disappointed in her power level. There's an asterisk. He may not kill her. She may become another horny bride for his in his harem. Those are like the two possibilities. The big cult boy will probably escape and go underneath. But then they'll follow him. They'll stop him. They'll save the bland pharmacist who also feels wildly expendable. But I guess they're trying to make him a character, even though he feels a similar category to Adventuring Party where he should also die. If I'm being honest. But I'm like, why is he still alive? Basically. And then I think there'll be some vague, like at the very end of the episode, it'll be some bullshit not cliffhanger where we'll see either a character we already know or a new character be spooky and intimidating off screen.
So, with that prediction in mind, presuming that you're like 90+% correct, Rem, would you want to actually watch that episode?
Not really, no.
Okay, so my point stands then. All right, cool. Glad that because when I was doing the research on this show, I watched the whole first season again, and I thought to myself, at about the episode, like, because episode 9 would have been like the obvious stopping point, because it's the end of that storyline before the last storyline of the season. But I thought to myself, hang on, they tried to make this a very dramatic cliffhanger in episode 8, like, hey, what's gonna happen type of thing. And I don't know if, like, what happens afterwards is worth it. Because, Rem, I'll be real with you. You are basically 89% correct. Like, the biggest difference is she, crazy lady, definitely dead. And the only thing you left out is his companion, his mate, his
Oh, yes, of course. How could I forget such an important character?
she beats the shit out of the necromancer dude and his bones.
Okay, well, yeah, that was...
And then they save the dude, and that's it.
Okay, I forgot to mention her at all because I felt like it didn't really matter because...
No, literally, like,
NPCs...
her most important scene is in that episode and was my only chance of you getting anything wrong in this prediction.
Oh, God. See, the thing is, she's just an extension of Ainz. She has no personality beyond... Basically, you know how you're playing Skyrim, some of the followers you can get have, like, personalities and backstories, right? And then you'll just get a housecarl for some random ass, not even Whiterun, not Lydia, just some other one.
Like, not anywhere near as iconic as Lydia.
Yeah, just one of the other ones who just has the same plain housecarl dialogue. That's what this woman is for Ainz. She's just there to also do some stuff sometimes, I guess. Okay.
The plot twist, Rem, is she is one of his maids. One of the battle maids. That's the twist.
What? That's not...
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no, and she
we
has
already
a battle
saw
maid
her
outfit.
kill a bunch of cultists.
Well, yeah.
What?
But, yeah, no, like, that's... Then she fights some bone dragons that are badly CG animated.
Wait, what's the fucking twist? It's emphasized how OP she is for 3 fucking episodes.
Yep, that's it. No, I don't know what your issue is, Rem. I've told you what's going on. And I'll tell you, the most interesting thing that happens in that episode is probably the semi-brutal way Ainz kills the girl. That's the only reason. That was the only thing I could think of be worth watching it, because it's violent and bloody. That's basically it.
So I just feel like that first 5 to 10 minutes, I was unironically optimistic.
I thought you would be. I genuinely thought you would be.
Because, man, that captured something there. Yeah. I was lightning in a bottle. And then it was like, oh, man. Anyway, so we got Isekai. And I was like, well, yeah. And it's like, no, that's it. That's all. We got an Isekai, your OP protagonist. You got your little harem forming. Main character's bland as fuck. You got expendable side characters who sometimes will pretend matter, but most times will agree just don't. We got some shitty CGI. I hurt. I hurt, Shaun.
I know you do, Rem. I know you do. But let's be real, Rem. People wanted you to see this because they thought with deep in their hearts that this was better than Sword Art Online, and that you would enjoy it more. Were they right in that assumption?
I suppose that generally this is slightly better than Sword Art Online, if that's what they wanted to hear.
Oh, you don't have any more passion to put in your voice for that, Rem? This didn't make you feel anything truly passionate?
Oh no. Maybe it's a half point to a point higher than Sword Art.
Ooh.
But, like, it's in the ballpark, man.
Well, with that in mind, do you have any guesses on what the MAL score for Overlord is?
God, I don't want... It's gonna be stupidly high. Fuck, man.
You've been getting really close recently. Let's dial it in. See if you can really predict what the weebs thought of this show. Keeping in mind that it did come out originally in 2015.
I don't know why people watch this. Okay. I know it's popular. I know it's really high up there. I'm going to say... But I also, like, they have to have some understanding that it's not good. They have to... there has to be weebs out there who understand how shit this is.
So should have got a 4th season.
So I guess I will say, I'm gonna guess high 7s reluctantly. 7.87.
Okay, Rem. With 840,000 ratings, Overlord Season 1 is sitting at a quite interesting 7.92.
Oh, yep, I was in the ballpark, and it's just, that's, y'all. I don't... Why? Why?
Well, Rem,
I can
because...
sort of wrap my head around someone liking it if they're just pure isekai trash.
Oh, 1000%. Like that. Hey, you hit the nail on the head with that one. Isekai trash folk love this anime. Like,
See, I don't
as
even
it
know
is.
why they would love it, is the thing.
Yeah.
I get why they'd like it because it checks the boxes.
Yeah.
I have no idea why any of them would love it.
Because it's
What's special about this show?
Well,
Tell me right now.
Tell you right now what's special about this show.
Go into the mind of a super fan, right? Who's trying to sell it to someone. They're like, oh man, you have to watch Overlord because blank.
Blank, the main character is an adult, not a human, and albedo is hot. Those are the two things that come to mind.
What the fuck?
Those are the two big ones, and yeah, those are the two big ones. Those are the two big ones. I like genuinely the one thing that puts this a step above like the other average isekais I've watched is the fact that A, they're all adults, and B, character designs are kind of interesting, and C, like there's they're willing to commit to violence.
Character designs are pretty decent. World building's pretty decent. There's some moments that are pretty decent.
Yeah, and those moments are carrying the show.
But they're so few and far between. And it's like, I can't say, like, the designs are good. I can't say the animation is good, because it's like,
no,
okay at best. The CGI is straight up bad. The character designs are fine, but the characters themselves are shit. Like, I don't. Are you here for the action? There's not good action. Are you here for the comedy? There's not good comedy. You here to be horny? It's horny, but only in an awkward amount. Are you an edgelord? Do you want it dark and spooky? It's not that dark and spooky, or gritty, or terrible and bloody. Are you here for emotions? You'll get one of them in the first 10 minutes. You can stop watching after that. Like, why are you watching? What are you getting out of watching this show?
Apparently, people are getting a lot, because like I said, Rem, it's currently airing its 4th season.
I don't know, man.
You good, buddy? You alright? You need to lie down?
I'm pretty fucked up.
You're pretty fucked up? Well, Rem, I wish I could answer more questions for you, but at the very least, will you take solace in knowing the fact that I just looked at the Season 4 page on Mal for Overlord 4, and only 40,000 people have reviewed it, so maybe there's some solace in that there's a very niche group of diehard superfans that are actively watching and caring about this show, but it clearly has not held up when there are many better shows to watch these days.
So many.
So, Rap, you sound so hurt. You sound so sad.
This show lied to me, damn it.
In the cruelest way, too, because it gave you something really nice at the beginning, and then proceeded to shit in your face.
Those first 5 to 10 minutes, like that scene of melancholic nostalgia, that was something a little bit special. But then the rest of it happened.
Well, who knows, Rem? Maybe there are more of those moments in seasons 2 through 4.
Fuck that shit so much.
I don't know, because I haven't bothered watching anything from seasons 2
I don't even know what the point of the show is. Like, it was like, oh, maybe I'll conquer the world. And that was the only time that was brought up. He's like, vaguely, I'll make the name known throughout the world for vague reasons of maybe world conquering, maybe to find others, which there's no indication that any of the others will show up, but the fact that it's a goal means it will have to happen, I guess. But even any of that is like, but why? To what end?
Look, man, I only watched the first season and not a lot happened, so I couldn't tell you.
All right.
So with that in mind, I guess the final question to ask, Rem, is there any chance you'd like to sit down and watch some more Overlord with me?
No, but I might rewatch the first 10 minutes and cry. Cry for what could have been.
What shall never be.
Yep.
Well, with that, thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed Rem getting his hopes up incredibly high and then being brought crashing down by the crushing weight of Isekai, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcast and leave us a review, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, or Spotify, or any of the myriad of other platforms out there. We do read every single one, and they mean the world to us. And if that is still not enough for you, you can head on over to twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext, where myself, Remington, and Dylan occasionally play video games. Quite badly. But at least it's a bit more interesting than what we just watched. And if you are still not satisfied, you can head on over to patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including having the opportunity to have your name read aloud live on the podcast. So, Rem, who are we thinking this week?
As always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are going to be bitching at each other for no discernible reason. It's going to be really lousy. It's going to last way too long. It's also going to be all of their character development. And on that list, we have Alex, Zombie Stomp 91, Soul Eater is Life, Xanax, Yandere Neko, You Hear, Why Shaun, Humstuv, Walk Me Home Gently, Way to Shell, Tyler Worley, Turtly Enough for the Turtle Club, Trenton Farrell, Travis J. Humphrey, Totally God, Tim Westy, The Susanator, The Big Bean, That One Anime Dude Who's Also a Duck, Take Me Cheeks, Spizinus, the fellow who shall reign supreme after rewriting the phonetic system, Sonic X is my favorite anime, Silent Secondary, Shoujo Addict who doesn't need help, just more manga to read and anime to watch, Shaun's hot, throbbing gumdrop buttons, Shaun punish Rem and make him watch Excel World, Shaun read this, oh certainly, sorry if I broke the Patreon. Kim Mule, 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 Kim. All right.
I feel like that's more of a punishment for you at this point, Rem.
Oh yeah, it's rough. Shaun told me in secret that frog ass juice was great. School Days and Planet for the Feels, Salty Pretzel, Ross Palmer, Rhiannon Williams, Rem gave me depression. Rem convinced me to not fuck my sister, so I'm on my way to get a shovel, rope, a condom, lube, and cat treats.
What?
No, I'm not gonna think about it.
Not
or
gonna
talk
break
about
that
it.
down. Nope, not gonna
Please
think
give
about
me
that.
a cool and interesting anime-related pun name. Go, Shaun.
Stop! Fucking... I don't know what they want from me. I can't just whip it out every week.
I don't know. That's a pretty
not-
pretty shitty pun, Shaun. I don't even know what you're going for there. No waifu. Nick Harvey, Makeka Seven Hierto, Mexican Gone Freaks, Maya Sazitzi, Matthew Drum says Dylan's an angel, Matt02 Max, Lizzie Anthea, Latinos Eats Death in Anime for Breakfast, King Rich Rock, Casey Mosley, Cassidy, Just a Traveler, Joey Wheeler says Battle not with monsters, battle not with monsters, lest ye become a monster, and if you gaze in the abyss, it will say, yeah. Jax, Jam Hands, it's customary to say let's White Swartz at the beginning of a White Swartz match. Shaun and I officially have White Swartz cards, so...
Yep.
Check out our, I don't know, it's a P.O. Box video up, it'll be up soon if it's not. I don't know, man.
You're making a lot of promises that you don't know the answers to, Rem, and that's very bold of you.
I, Remington, am a Kappa, and I love to steal everyone's butt balls. I want Rem to run Darling and Franks for me, Hunter Davies. Hi, I'm Shaun, I don't like revisits. Hearing Remington's brain melt after watching the ballsiness that is Endless 8 would bring great pleasure to everyone listening. Glenn Michael Dolan, Fuck of Love Fox and Boy, Farmer Weeb's bad pickup line of the week. Does this smell like chloroform? Fantide, face tits, midriff, ass, thighs, or feet. Personality is a cop-out. Answer the question, you fuckers. All right, Shaun.
I don't want to be exposed for my tastes on my own goddamn podcast.
I'm gonna say for me, unironically, face is the most important thing for me. Shaun, I need an answer. Face, tits, midriff, ass, thighs, or feet. What do you like most about me?
Specifically you, Rem, you've got some great booba.
All right.
Some top tier booba.
How would you not talk about what I've already talked about many times, my bodacious booty?
Because I get jealous of it, Rem. Obviously.
All right, moving on. Extreme Cobra, Epic Amy, Elite Knight, drink milk to prevent wobbly bones, not a conspiracy. Dickite, Mimicin, Pikachurin, Tris pentafluorethyl trifluorophosphate, also known as FAP, and finally trans 1,4-bis 4-pridal F. Damius555, Crumb Sluts Bakery. I don't have a good idea, so now it's just cum. Sometimes that's all you need.
There's beauty in simplicity.
There's a Beatles song about that being all you need. Creed 13, Shy 900, Cheese Monkey, Cecilia, first L is silent. My parents just like watching people struggle. Okay, so it's Cecilia. It is Cecilia. Cajun House, rock hard for Geodudes. Blood for the Blood God, Skulls for the Skull Throne. Big Blue Bear Boy. And when that moment came to pass, like Christ, I came riding on an ass. Elise Howard, AJ Tunnels, AJ Honey. After watching Nisa Monogatari, Misaka is relieved that she doesn't have any brothers and regrets her toothpaste joke a few weeks, and then it cuts off. And now we go to the Boy Wizard tier, where you get the task you avoided by writing a Patreon name, Chris. You get planning your fiance's B-day. Insert Patreon name here, and hashtag communism for books. A good hashtag of any time. Never forget hashtag communism for books. Next, we move on to the Boy Wizard tier, where everybody is going to get a terrible MMO, according to YouTuber Josh Strife Hayes in his series, Worst MMO Ever.
So that's actually a very fun series, funnily
It's
enough.
a solid series.
I've seen quite a few of them, thanks to Dylan.
So, Yu Yu Hakusho is the best tournament arc anime. You get League of Angels 3. Warning, you're 799 episodes away. You are going to get League of Angels Heaven's Fury.
Ooh, I'm sensing a trend.
Vincent Calabrese, you get Life is Feudal. The Great Buttball of Despair, you are getting Rebirth Online. Stupid Sexy Nerd Gigante, you get Sphere 3, Rage of the Devastator.
Sorry.
Shuffleboard is totes a sport. You get New Frontier. Rat Visa the Finish. You get Defiance 2050. Please watch Healer Girl, a cute slice of life anime about using magic to heal people. Also, Rem is still a girl. You get Bloodlines of Prima. My Afro Ate My Dog, you get Warhammer 40k Eternal Crusade. Momo the Griff, you are going to get Shroud of the Avatar, Forsaken Virtues. My Afro Ate My Dog, you are getting Mortal Online. Mike wants an Overlord review. You fucking got one. You get shit. No, fuck you. Fuck you, you get shit. You don't get one.
Hey, Rev, you can't just say that to them.
I can and I did. Mike, this was all you're doing. Your anime is, your MMO is whatever the fuck. It's Yggdrasil. There you go. Miguel Delion, you get Tale of Toast. Mephiles, the King of Swords, has arrived, motherfuckers. You get School of Dragons. Maitawa says first 3 arcs of Bakemonogatari is just 8 episodes. You get Riders of Icarus / Icarus Online. Jacob Payne, you get Shadow Arena. Inuyasha is my favorite cryptid. You get Luck Catchers. Hey Rem, do a backflip. I would, but then my Cleric of Death would die. Hey, that's an inside joke just for Shaun. That's just for Shaun.
Just for me. Cool.
That's it. You get Dream of Mirror Online. Go ahead, call the cops. It won't silence the voices. They're getting louder. Send help, please. You get Horse Riding Tales. Crimson Reapers, just because of the scythes. You get Rhizome. Beethoven 1201, you get Wizard 101.
I know that one.
Fuck, the ginger Irish fox ate a bowl of shit on stream again. What a mockery of a tax collector.
I am so goddamn offended.
You get Fiesta Online. Anime Girl, you get Rift. Aaron Hegland, you get Adventure Quest 3D. Tusek Sean, I have to show you my Rule 34 of Yui. It is my favorite of my many folders. You get Adventure Quest Worlds. Or just Tinder? What? I don't understand.
I mean, is there truly a greater player base than just all the horny people in the world?
Who knows? Next we move on to our inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Shaun will give you some iconic, terrible video game lines.
Okay.
And these are going to be your guys' comedic catchphrases from this point forward. On this list, we start out with Raphtalia is my anime waifu, will return in September. All right, Shaun?
I just want to point out that the list you gave me is from redbull.com.
Very weird. Very weird.
Very strange. Okay. From Shenmue, you get, do you know where I can find some sailors?
There's your comedic catchphrase. You'll always be searching for them seamen. Next up, we have Pizza Cotton Candy is my waifu.
From Dynasty Warriors 3, fool, you challenge me with trickery. I don't believe in magic. Onward!
Okay, so this would have been versus, this would have been during the Yellow Turban Rebellion versus that one motherfucker. Possibly right before...
Zhang Zhao. Yeah.
Zhang Zhao, yeah, possibly right before he throws fucking boulders at your face. Or fireballs, one or the other.
I am amazed you played the Dynasty Warrior franchise, Rem.
Oh, dude, that was my fucking jam when I was a kid. I loved that shit. Lubu's gonna kick your ass. Unless it's one of the later ones where he got hardcore nerfed, which was bullshit. It was always way better when he showed up and you were like, I'm gonna spend 25 minutes going back and forth, whittling his health down and running away, hopefully being able to beat him, and hopefully with everything else working out.
There are some really good modern Warriors games as well, actually. Like Hyrule Warriors was very fun.
I don't give a shit if it don't have Lubu. I mean, does Hyrule Warriors have Lubu? Can Lubu show up and just shake?
Kick Zelda's ass? What?
I mean, actually, if that's the case, I might be interested, I'll be honest.
Oh, God. I wish that was the case. That would be fucking amazing.
I don't know, your slogan is just Lubu or some shit. Next up we go, Magic Ice Ball.
I don't know why they consider this a bad line. It's just kind of an iconic one, but alright. From Skyrim, I used to be an adventurer like you, then I took an arrow in the knee.
Alright, you are just a Skyrim guard. That is your slogan. Congratulations. Next up we have, hey, Rem's kick-ass GF, forget him, can I be your big titty harem waifu? One second, I'll ask her. I will ask her.
He's going to ask her right now. Holy shit. He did actually go and ask her. I am just sitting here in silence right now while I wait for him to respond.
No, yeah, sorry, it's not gonna work out.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Dylan's gonna have to cut like a huge chunk of silence there because people might think that you just said you're gonna do and check for a bit, but no, you did genuinely leave and ask.
I mean, of course. I ain't a coward.
I was half expecting you to drag her into the room and make her give her answer herself, but no, like...
No, that would confirm that she's real.
I see.
So what is this individual's slogan? New motto?
This is from a PS2 game called Disaster Report.
Good start.
Yep. I have to stay alive and write this article before I die.
You're just writing a lot of articles right before you die, so good luck. It sounds like a very stressful existence. Next up we have Dylan Army General. Please play Yandere Simulator.
Okay, first of all, fuck this list, because they took one of my favorite silly quotes from one of my favorite games back in the day and just said, hey, this is a bad quote. Fuck you, redbull.com.
He's been offended. Let's see what one offended him.
From Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. God, I half thought about trying to do a snake impression as Joey Wheeler, but that would just destroy my throat. So it's just going to be pure Joey. Maybe with the cadence of Snake. It was my destiny to be here, in the box.
All right, that's
which is a secret line that you can get if you're just like fucking around hiding in a box and you decide to call the general on your comms. It's an Easter egg line.
Well,
it's not like something
Dylan Army General, enjoy your box. Next up we have Demon Ray 13.
Wow, really? Zero Wing, huh? Okay, cool. You get from 1991's Zero Wing. All your base belong to us. You have no chance to survive. Make your time.
You're making a lot of threats there, Demon Ray. Next up we got My Dear Old Mom.
I need a new list. Okay, so people don't seem to want to compile bad quotes, from what I can tell.
Well,
like I'm doing what I can.
You need 4 more.
Oh, here we go. Random Kingdom Hearts quotes.
I almost did that.
77 Kingdom Hearts quotes that all fans will love. I don't know about that. Let's see. Oh god. This is a quote from King Mickey Mouse, as Joey Wheeler. So have fun with that mental image. Darkness is half of everything. Sorta makes you wonder why we're so scared of the dark, Canal.
But all right. So yeah, my mom has gotten pretentious with her slogans apparently. Next up we go Chelsea Nussbaum.
No frowning, no sad face, okay? The boat runs on happy faces, and that's Donald and Goofy, apparently.
Fucking hell. Oh. Next up we go to Blood Cell, not the white one.
I'm trying to avoid, like, the Final Fantasy character-sounding names, because they're all, like, dark and pretentious, and they're not, like, interesting. So I'm primarily going for, like, the Disney lines. Here we go. Goofy once said, But no worries. Even if this place goes poof, our hearts ain't going nowhere. I'm sure we'll find our pals again. Yep, just know that we will. That could just be a Joey Wheeler line, actually.
It could. It's actually quite authentic. Last but not least, going above and beyond, we have Dylan Hayden. In which case, Shaun, he's just going to repeat that same exact quote, but he's going to combine Joey Wheeler and Goofy just for you, Dylan Hayden.
Oh, God. I don't even know if that's possible. Like Goofy with a Brooklyn accent?
I can't wait.
Oh, God. I can't even do a good Goofy. Gorsh.
No, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing.
Gosh. Yeah. What the fuck? I don't know what I can't. Here's a different Goofy quote. We would be muddling. Don't know what that means. What does that mean, Goofy? What does that mean, Goofy? Hold on, I'm gonna Google that quote because I don't know what the fuck that means.
Oh, I mean, we all know. We all get it.
Do we?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, with that in mind, gonna say your last line, or am I just gonna be stuck in this hell?
I don't know. It is fun leaving you in this hell. Nonetheless, thank you all so much. If you want to reach out, whether it's for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter, or send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com. We've been receiving a lot of really lovely emails lately. Thank you all so much for those.
Yeah, they have been very kind and very fun. And for all of you who are like, hey, I don't even know if you guys still read these, they're like, yeah, we do. We do. Every single one. Sometimes they are a very lovely part of our day. And other times they make me want to cry, but not in a good way. But that's okay. So with that, thank you all once again for joining us. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Hey, we all want a mommy lich in our lives, don't we?
I guess I'm going MILF hunting today. That's what I'm doing.
A big thanks goes out to the patron members of our Discord, AJ Honey, Allfather, Extreme Cobra, The Duck, Brockhard for Judude, and Spice Sidus for contributing their amens to our congregation. And, as an extra thank you, I'm gonna have each of their amens play out in no particular order, completely unedited.
Amen, Uwu. Amen.
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 Woo, amen.
So far, SpongeBob's dad is the least fuckable.